Welcome, Mr. James and Courtney Barnes. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on my podcast here. I have some questions for you, if that's okay. If that's okay with the
Absolutely.
both of you.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Awesome. Okay, well, first, I'd like to know how the two of you identify yourselves.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I always mess this one
Okay,
up.
I'll take it.
Okay,
I'll
well,
take
you
Yeah.
know what? I forgot to tell the world where are you guys from?
Oh, we're in Washington. So we're in the Pacific Northwest where it is raining all the time. So that's where we're
We're
at.
close to Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, very close to Portland. To
Oh,
get
the
right.
beauty. You're close to the greenery.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're out here. I'm out here in California,
Right.
Los Angeles, California. It's a little cloudy today, but I'm not trying to do the weather here. But anyways, it'd be nice to travel.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you identify yourself? Do you identify yourself as there's so many people that are really cautious with this. So I try to tiptoe sometimes because I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like hurt
I get you.
anybody's feelings if I identify them wrong.
No,
But
you're
whether you're heterosexual, cis, or what what are the other ones?
there's
Gender non-conforming
non-conforming,
Oh,
or
non-binary.
non-binary.
We're
non-binary. Yes.
yeah,
I'm still learning a lot of terms.
she's still learning a
So am
lot.
I. Yeah, I'm still learning myself.
Yeah, it's an ever evolving conversation. But for us, for myself, I just identify as a transgender dude who's married to Courtney. I mean, technically straight, but I just love people, and yeah, that's I guess how I identify.
We've talked though before about like if you would date like
I would probably like try now. When I transitioned, it was with Courtney, so I never dated
yeah.
guys after that, and I only dated Courtney. I didn't date any trans women or anyone else. But yeah, like if I was single right now, I'd probably would just try to date anybody and everybody, just to have fun in the body I have now. Before I was really hesitant with dating. I was super insecure. It was not fun. Now I'd probably just be like, sure, I like me. I bet other people will like me. I want to like other
Oh
people. I'd be way
yeah.
more open. So yeah, but I'm with Courtney, so that's it. Yeah.
I'd say probably the same though. I would say because I identify as straight, because James gave off like the very masculine vibes in the beginning, anyways, to where I was like, oh, you're supposed to be a dude. You may not know this yet, but I think you're supposed to be a
Yeah.
dude.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. And I had only dated cisgendered men before.
Mhm.
But I will agree that like now I would say, I mean, I typically find cisgendered males attractive, but also I don't always know. So I'm just like, oh, they're attractive. I think it more depends on the chemistry that's
Yeah.
there, because there's some really hot girls out there too. And you know what? Hey, if it
I'll
ever,
second that. Yeah.
yeah, right. Like
Absolutely.
I don't think it should be like just in a little box, I guess, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Everything's a big spectrum, right?
Yep.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's sexuality, whether it's deafness, whether it's career, whatever it is, it's all a
Oh,
spectrum.
yeah, for sure.
So I'm curious, how did the two of you meet? Lovely couple too. You both of you are a great looking couple. I see the compatibility. I see the fire. That's awesome. How did you two meet?
Thank you. We actually worked together.
Hmm.
So we worked together in a call center in like Washington where we live. And at the time I was about to get married.
Mhm.
Are
And
you serious?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was about to get married.
Wow.
And you were
Just dating.
just dating at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did get married because we were just friends.
Hmm.
And that obviously did not work out. We divorced like within a year.
Messy divorce.
It was not fun. Yeah. Um, but that's how we met. And then we became best friends.
Yeah, and I was just
Um,
best friends throughout that whole process. Like I was the person that came over, changed the locks,
yeah.
helped get the house switched over during her divorce, and just like the very cliche best friend, um, masculine best friend, as I'm saying it out loud, like doing all of the stuff that she probably helping
You were
in.
being of service to her and you were being
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes, yeah, and then I wanted to be of service to her, and yeah, so then our friendship just evolved, and our cat is now going to be joining
Hi,
us
Riley.
as well, so sorry if she
Hey,
starts.
kitty, kitty.
So yeah, then our friendship just evolved slowly, which I definitely speak to often, of just marry your best friend, have a relationship that's built off um that friendship, because Court and I are actually polar opposites. We're
Mhm.
like the most opposite you can be as human beings, and that friendship is what anchors us when we're not on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
Well, we
met
need that
after,
polarity, that black and white. We need the colors in between. We kind of need that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
We
And
never
how long
really
have you been married now?
first date type stuff.
Yeah, we never had a first date because we just were best friends hanging out, and
Yeah.
and then it just kind of evolved into a relationship. We've been married 5 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
16, yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, our wedding date's behind us
I'm like
and on my arm, so I probably should know
2016. Yeah,
that.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. And we actually eloped because both of us had been married before, and had the big weddings and everything. And we just decided, like, you know what? We're done doing all of this stuff. We're gonna elope. And we went to where the mountain where it was snowy, and she had this white dress, beautiful white dress, and I had this
I've
suit.
seen the pictures. They're
Yeah,
gorgeous
we literally
pictures.
just like got married.
Beautiful.
Like 5 people were there. It was just the or four of us, four of them, two of
Yeah.
us, and that was it. That was literally our wedding, and it was perfect.
Who popped the question and how?
I would have done it,
Yeah.
honestly.
She was very dominant, but I knew it was coming, and I wanted to be able to do it. So I popped the question and how I did it. So one day Courtney gave me for birthday.
Yeah, it was a birthday
For
gift.
my birthday gift, she gave me an old like 1950s typewriter, and
So cool.
it was really, I've
Yeah.
always wanted one, and it was really, really
With the
beautiful.
heavy keys, you kind of like
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
have heavier fingers.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do a story on it because it's beautiful. And she also another time had done like this scavenger hunt throughout the whole house, like just cute
Little
birthday
things, I
gift
think.
things here and there. And so what I did is I mixed the two, and I did a scavenger hunt because she does not like being the center of attention. Like if I had proposed at a basketball game or like a
I would have
football game,
walked out.
she would have said
Oh.
no.
Would've been like,
Well, good thing you knew her.
Yeah,
You knew better what to do.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did a scavenger hunt, kind of the same as her, but with more romance, like all the roses and the chocolates and stuff. And then it led to the office where I was standing, and the last clue had been, what was the best gift you ever gave me? And at the time we didn't have kids, so the best gift was the typewriter. And she walked in and read the typewriter, and I had typed out on it, "Will you marry me?" And so she read it and then looked up at me, and I was holding roses, and I got down on my knee, and I'm very cheesy. I'm very well spoken. And in that moment, it just went black.
it was like, blah, blah,
And I
marry
couldn't
me.
remember how to talk. And I was just like, I love you. And will you marry me? Like I couldn't remember anything that I had planned. Yeah. And then obviously she said yes. So here we are.
Yay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. And I do love the pictures. So nice. Epic pictures. Looks all kind of like I feel like I'm in Disneyland looking at your pictures.
Yeah, it's very like magical feeling.
We had a great photographer, my cousin.
Yes.
Yeah, she was amazing.
She's done all of our family photos, which we're very lucky to have her. So
Yeah.
So did the two of you know you wanted to be parents right away?
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you talk about that before getting married, or was that something that you talked about when you got married?
Yes. I think that was actually I think because we were friends, it had been a conversation from the beginning. Like, I always wanted to be a mom. And honestly, even in my first marriage, I was like, I just really want to be a mom. And then I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, this is not the right person.
Right.
But I think, for me,
You're listening to your gut.
yes, yeah, but it was that like overwhelming, like I just really want to be a mom someday. So I think like from the beginning, I was like, hey, this is important to me. I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
So and then but I had no idea how he was gonna react or what his feelings were.
Yeah, and I always, I think I always thought like, yeah, I want to be a parent, but I also really enjoy people. And my ex was really big into partying, and we lived in Portland and was able to just kind of be young. And so like I was happy with that. I never really thought about being a parent. And then I met Courtney, and I was like, I want to be her kids' dad, like ASAP. And one of the first conversations we had about kids was we really wanted to have a little girl named Addie. And then when we got pregnant and we found out it was a girl, it was really easy. We already had the name picked out. And I'm not big on gender. Like that was like the one little thing we talked about gender, and then after that it never mattered again. But it just was very poetic the way that one of our very first conversations were about this imaginary little kid, this little girl named Addie. And then when she told me she was pregnant, we found out we were having a little girl. It felt
Sounds like it was meant to be.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
wrapped it all up really well. So but yeah, I think once I met Courtney and we talked about parenting, which how different we are, and then the fact that our parenting totally aligned, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Feeling like that's so
Super
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Courtney, how did you get pregnant?
The old-fashioned way. We just kept trying and trying.
Lots and lots of practice, even though it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
We actually went through, I think it's called Northwest Cryobank,
Mhm.
but it's a cryobank based out of Washington State. And they are amazing. They have a program where you can send in basically all of James's information. So his height, weight, ethnic makeup, everything that you
Wow.
could think of. Yeah, heritage, all of it. You can put everything in there and then send in photos as well. And they go through their database and they will basically pair you with like the best matches.
Mhm.
That's so
we got
awesome.
it was
Yeah.
amazing. And we got like top 3, and we did not look at photos or anything like that because we didn't want to have kind of like that image in your head of what you're kind of comparing to and everything.
Right.
So we didn't do that. But we did look at their profiles, and basically they write like a like
Like a letter.
yeah, letter kind of like why I wanted to be a donor.
Mhm.
So we based it off of that, and then we bought 6 samples and had them sent to us. And then basically it's the same as like tracking, when you're ovulating, all that fun stuff. And we
Mhm.
met with an amazing naturopath in Portland.
Mhm.
Did you have an
And-
app for that? Like to know when, some girls, I know like some girls have like an app that,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she used an app, and then you actually can do tests like the P stick or something
Yeah,
like
like
yeah,
that.
to check your hormone levels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff.
And so yeah, it was like I didn't have to do any shots or anything like that because technically we were just putting the sperm samples into me, so it wasn't like I needed to do anything different than what I was already doing. I obviously wasn't on birth control. So yeah, we met with the naturopath. I had been tracking my cycles and everything to find out when I was ovulating, and then basically we just went in, picked up the sample. It was like on dry ice, so James got to actually like hold it and let it like defrost and everything.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's like the size of our testosterone vials.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
wow.
that big. Really,
Uh-huh.
really small, and it's frozen, and you just kind of rub it, and then
Heat it
when
up.
you just heat it up, and then you hand it to the naturopath, and she let me help push in the sample. It's like a little.
It's like a really long syringe, kind of is what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's called intrauterine insemination.
Was it painful?
It was not. Nope,
Mm-mm.
not at all. So she doesn't actually like hit anything or hurt anything. So, and actually, honestly, it was like less invasive than some of the doctor's appointments I've gone to, and like the women
Pap
doctor
smears.
thing. Yeah, for sure. So it actually was not bad at all. And then we did some acupuncture with her because she said that could really help and help it take.
Really?
Which I'm not a huge fan of needles. Actually, I'm not a fan at all. Like those type of things, not good.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I'll try it. So, and she was amazing. She did like some acupuncture on my stomach, and then we waited 2 weeks, and then took a pregnancy test and found out I was pregnant. So the first
Wow, right on.
I know the first one took on the first try, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And then our second try, that one took 3 tries.
Mhm.
So it was a little discouraging. There was 1 month that I think with all of the hormones and trying and everything like that I didn't even have a period. And I was like, oh my gosh, now what am I supposed to do? Because you're just like waiting.
Stressing
you're
out, huh?
Yeah. And then it feels like it's getting pushed back because that whole month is gone. Like you just missed that whole month opportunity. And so yeah. But Ellie took on the third try.
So yeah.
What happened in those 2 tries that did not work out? Did you miscarry, or did it just not? I mean, what happened?
So I just didn't get pregnant.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and what's hard, I think, too, is that you only have so many samples. So with a cisgender couple, you could technically try, like if you know your window, like you have that 24-hour window, you could try 3 times within that window. You could try morning, noon, night, whatever you want to do, because you're not paying per sample.
Yeah.
So with us, you could technically try with more than 1 sample, like try a morning and a night. But we didn't
They're
really
like
want to.
300 each.
Yeah, they're not cheap. So you really want to kind of
And
be strategic.
that's not including the appointment, the
Yeah.
naturopath fee, which she's incredible, and it still was like $200 or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And you
Wow.
have to set up an appointment, and
Yeah.
it's not cheap. And then you add on top of that the stress of coming from it's not cheap. So then you have this like unspoken pressure, like
Yeah.
we only have a few samples left. We don't want to use them all up just for this, month. We want to use them sparingly. So
And so now you have two little girls.
yes, we do.
Yes.
Yep.
And what are their names and what are their ages?
So Addie is 4
Mhm.
and Ellie is a year and a half.
Yep.
How darling is that?
Yeah, they're pretty epic. They're really badass. And
What does it feel? What does it feel like now to be parents? I mean, you talked about it, you warmed up, you've gone through the process together, and now the both of you are parents.
Oh, it's exhausting. No, it's bittersweet because it's like every day is something new and they amaze you and it's like wearing your heart on your sleeve. Like you're just, oh my gosh, I want to protect you with everything I can.
Yeah.
Also, it's amazing that you're growing and learning. So that's cool. And I'm proud of you, but also please stay small and stay in your bubble. So it's just this weird, like,
you're always on your toes.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So, and I had been a nanny previously, like when I was younger, and I loved it. So I loved kids. So I had this idea in my head of like, I'll raise my kids this way. And then you have kids and you're like, we're lucky to make it today. Like,
yeah.
So
their
personalities come on board, and then you kind of have to navigate through that.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's definitely, I definitely thought I would have handled being a parent better than I did some days. I get super exhausted. I am now like aware with like ADD, and like if the house is cluttered, which is inevitable with kids, I get super overwhelmed. And so I've really had to lean into knowing myself so that I'm a better parent. And having them vibe off my energy, not me vibe off their energy, because they're pure chaos. They're literal balls of chaos. And like my daughter, the 4-year-old, she'll growl and stomp and be crying, like
it's a lot of big feelings right now.
Legit sobbing. And then I'll do some breathe. I won't even say anything. I'll just sit next to her and I'll start taking some really deep breaths. And then she starts mimicking that subconsciously. And then she calms down, and then she'll be like,
that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Except she'll turn around and be like, how are you, daddy? Like
so innocent,
hitting me and screaming at me. And now you want to cuddle with me. And it's it's dangerous because there is no stability.
Yeah.
So you have to just be like super anchored in who you are. So the last 2 years have been my favorite with parenting, because I've gotten really comfortable with who I am. Courtney and I have started to really establish like our communications. Like anytime, like in our marriage, our favorite part, or at least for me and from what Courtney said, like when we're in therapy, the best part of our marriage is our parenting.
That's beautiful.
We just vibe well with that so much. And so that's whenever people are talking about like their significant other, that's where I say like find somebody that you can compromise with and parent with, because that's the real big.
Yeah, find that equilibrium.
Yeah.
How was your family throughout this process?
Courtney's family, I'll let her dive into that because she handled it really well. My family was more, so her family's more conservative politically, kind of, if you catch my drift. My family's more conservative religiously, but more politically liberal. And so we had two very different situations to handle, but oddly enough, both families jumped on board pretty quick. There was some kind of drama at the beginning of our relationship trying to navigate that. And
what kind of drama? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, well, I mean, like with how my last marriage ended and
I see.
Courtney and all of that, my family was super judgmental about that, which, it was a sticky situation. But once I came out as trans and was like, and this is where, like, if you start to kind of watch my page, I talk a lot about how important it is to be really confident about yourself. Because when I came out and I was super confident, like, I'm James and this is who I am, and you can, be on board and ask all the questions and be vulnerable. This doesn't have to be like everybody's an ally right away. It's like you're learning. That's fine. But if you're going to judge me or try to tell me not to, go away. Like, these are the quick boundaries. I'm more than fine being a safe space, being a kind space, but you're never going to change my mind that I'm James. Everything switched. Everything was way more smooth, because I think once my family realized, oh, we're not here to change James's mind, we're just here to love him. Things
Yeah,
got,
isn't that beautiful after that? For
yeah.
sure.
And that's how it was with Courtney too. Courtney was really, really dominant.
How was it, Courtney? How did you tell your parents? I mean, did you even tell them that he was trans? Did you even mention that word, or did you just kind of jump right
So,
in it and say, "This is it. This is who we are, and this is what's going to
yeah.
happen"?
It was basically, there was like two pivotal conversations. The first one, because he hadn't transitioned when we first started dating.
Yeah, because we were
Um,
best friends. So I had met her
Mhm.
family before I transitioned.
yes. So I was like, hey, by the way, this person is my best friend. By the way, we're dating now. And my mom was like, are you a lesbian? I'm confused. What's
Is it a
happening
phase?
here? I got a lot of, is this a phase? Oh, this is your rebound after your divorce. Oh, you're experimenting because, whatever.
Yeah,
Um, so I would say probably half of my family was very like cautious and had a lot of questions. And the other half was like, all right, like just kind of like, we'll let this play out. And
sure.
then um I don't like beating around the bush, so I'll be very direct with them. And I was like, nope, guess what? This isn't a phase. We're dating. This is how it is.
Hmm.
Either love and accept us, or we're not going to hang out with you. And my family was like, oh, okay, got it. Like,
Yeah,
the line has been drawn.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then round two of that was basically what, a year, 2 years later, when I was like, by the way, James is going to transition. You're going to call him James now. These are his pronouns.
Yeah.
If you mess it up, I'm going to call you out on it. It's probably going to be
yeah,
awkward and uncomfortable. Sorry, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to be around us, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And they were all like, got it. Okay. Cause they
Yeah.
know I wouldn't mess around. I'd be like, we're not hanging out.
And I would be the soft person who's like, it's
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
figure it out. And she was like, don't fuck up. And I was like, it's okay, we'll figure
Yeah.
it out. So we balanced the transition with families and stuff. So yeah, because
Courtney, how has it been for you seeing him transition? He's very handsome man. How did that happen?
Very handsome, yes.
How did it happen for
I was
you?
not aware of like the full potential, I don't think. I
Yeah.
think he was very attractive before.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh yeah, you're cute. Like, and then
Funny,
like,
the full potential. I like that.
yeah, I was like, I think, yeah, I'm
James, are you
very lucky.
blushing? I see you
I
blushing.
love when she talks about me. When she talks about me, it's my favorite. So
Yeah,
So yeah, what's it like?
it's been so crazy just to see his physical transformation. There was definitely like some challenges in terms of like communication styles, because starting taking testosterone does a lot. It's
oh
a
yeah.
whole new
Yeah,
hormone. Things change. um so we definitely started therapy back when, and it's
Yeah.
been the greatest thing. We still go just for maintenance, because why
excellent.
not?
Absolutely. We'll go for the rest of our lives.
Yes,
Oh yeah, so do I. We need it. The world needs it. Yeah.
yes, yes. So yeah, that part was, I mean, we went through some stuff there of like
Yeah.
figuring things out, or different communicating styles. But yeah, the physical part, it's hard because I see him every day. So sometimes I'm like, when did that happen? Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like, whoa, your facial hair is definitely coming a lot more. Like, he'll point it out to me. He'll be like, did you see this? I'm like, no. What the like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely been interesting to watch. But I mean, I'm happy. I have no complaints.
And you're very beautiful too. You guys make an excellent
Thank
couple.
you.
She's stunning. Yeah.
What advice can either one of you give to singles out there?
Ooh, good question.
My advice is just be yourself. I think that it's super easy to say, but it takes some hard work to do, because if you can dive in deep and get really, really comfortable with yourself. The biggest fault I did was trying to please other people,
Mhm.
and I didn't transition when I wanted to. I dated people who were super toxic for me because, I thought that that's where my happiness would be. And once I figured out who I was, and in our marriage, the moments that are the best are when we both are super aware of what our expectations are of ourselves. And then we
Mhm.
bring it to the table and we're able to say,
Mhm.
like, this is what my expectation was of the situation. And I can say, well, I did not hear that at all. But this is what my expectations were. And we totally missed each other. But at least we can clearly explain where we messed up, and I think that comes with like being really in tune with yourself and not worrying about, is this person going to like this version of
Mhm.
me? there is no other version of you. There's one
Yeah,
version,
right.
version that you exist in today, and you get to decide whether you accept that or you're going to lie about it and be miserable in a relationship just to say you're in a relationship. That's
Mhm.
bullshit. Don't do that, because you'll be miserable and then you're going to end up divorced later or broken up, and then you're going to be devastated that you wasted time,
Yeah.
and so for me, that's my advice whenever people talk to me, whether they're starting to transition. I have a lot of people reaching out saying, I just started transitioning. Am I ever going to find what you and Courtney have? And I'm always like, absolutely. You have, the reason Courtney and I work is because we're both unapologetically ourselves.
That's
And,
excellent. That's
and
excellent advice.
this is how it has to be.
Just
Yeah.
be you. It's not
Yeah.
that easy being you for a lot of people, but I guess it's also not easy when you don't know yourself. So when you get to know yourself and get that anchor, and somebody else is gonna fish you in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Courtney, what advice can you give to single people out there looking for love?
Don't settle.
Yes.
Don't
That's a good
settle.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't settle, people. Don't
Yeah.
settle.
And I'm guilty. I did it before previously too. So
Which is why you're able to give this advice.
Yeah.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. Yes. And I think don't assume things about other people too, because I think a lot of times, like previously, I don't think anybody would say, "Oh, she's gonna be married to a trans man one day." They would be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
hell no, that's not Courtney." But they don't
right.
know me. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know a lot about me or know how open minded I am to certain things. I'm like, yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. Why not? That
Yeah.
we'll figure that out. So I think don't put other people in the box as well.
Yeah.
So until you've had the conversation with someone, don't assume that you being trans would be a deal breaker, because it may not be. It may not be. It just may not be something they've ever thought about or considered. And I
Right.
think that was more the case with me. It was new to me, where I was like, I have never gone down this path. What's that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Um, but again, I think people previously would have assumed other things based on their knowledge of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. And so your advice of don't settle, what does that exactly mean?
So I think before, I had this idea in my head of I was going to get married at 22, have kids at 24. Like I had this whole
You
game
kind of
plan.
have that list,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
check this, check that.
Yes, I had expectations of myself and what I thought my like successful life was going to look like. And so I was just like, oh, whoever's here for it. Like
Right.
genuinely, honestly, I was like, okay, my ex husband and I had been together for like 5 years before we got married. So
Mhm.
it had been a while, and there was a lot of time wasted, in all honesty, that we could have both been living our lives separately because we were not meant to be together.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but I
It's like
was
so obvious.
so obvious. I was so scared of being alone or not settling or not having my path go as I thought it should be, that I was like, oh, this is what I do. This is what happiness is. Um, and I think society kind of pushes this agenda of what you should be doing. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
so many times people ask, well, when are you guys going to get married? When are you guys going to have kids? Maybe somebody doesn't want to get married. Maybe they don't want to have kids. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
That's
think,
actually a pretty rude, intrusive question to be asking
yes,
people.
So intrusive.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
it
intrusive.
absolutely is. And so I think just being confident in yourself to realize, like, oh, I can set whatever goals and expectations I want for myself. I don't have to live up to anyone else's standard. That, I think, in terms of like not settling, and then realizing if you're not happy, like genuinely honestly happy with the person that you're in a relationship with, it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
Like, don't think
Absolutely
it's going to
agree.
get better. Don't think that therapy might fix it, because therapy is great and it's an amazing tool, but if you already don't have a firm foundation to
Yeah.
start off of,
Right.
it's not going to make it suddenly magical and
Yeah.
amazing. So I think, yeah, just being really honest and true to yourself, of knowing like, this isn't for me, this isn't happiness,
Yeah.
why am I in this relationship,
Mhm.
and just getting out,
That's what I was going to
pull
bring
the
up.
band-aid off.
The why. Like, why do you want a
Yeah.
relationship in the first place?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think
So people out there that are settling or that feel they might be settling, please listen, because this is really crucial information right now, because it
it
could
Yeah.
is.
it could change your whole life.
You have to realize, like, why I had no idea why I was dating people. I had no
Mhm.
idea why I was wanting to get married. I had no idea on any of that. I just did it because like I was supposed to, because I didn't want to be quote unquote lonely. And I look back on that time during my, from like 18 to literally like 24 when I met Courtney, and I wasted so much valuable time that I could have been transitioning, that I could have maybe not transitioned, but I would have gotten to know what I really wanted out of myself. I could have been learning awesome skills like meditating and, I could have been doing all of this stuff to really, really grow into myself. And instead, I was looking at all of these other people to give me outside affirmations.
Mhm.
And that is why I was dating, is for outside affirmations. And the moment I stopped and I reevaluated why I was with Courtney, and it was like, companionship is great and parenting and procreating is great, but it's just having this ability to be a team, to take on the world, to do things like this, to help the world be a better place, to the bigger picture.
Help each
Yeah.
other grow.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Once you're able to establish the why, then you can figure out the what. Okay, what does that look like? If that's what you want, why you want it, then what does that look like? Then you can figure out, what does settling look like and what does thriving look like. But
Mhm.
you can't figure that out until you know yourself and the why.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to go through it. Sometimes you
Yeah.
got to roll through the punches and just kind of go through all of that to figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
And I think one other big thing within that too is the pieces of like, if James had never transitioned, or if we had never gotten married, let's say he was like, I'm committed, but I don't necessarily want to do marriage, or I don't want kids, knowing that it still would work out, that's not settling, because you're not in it for an agenda, you're in
Yeah.
it for the person.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I'm in it for James, no matter what James looks like, no matter what
Team
James
James.
yeah, I'll here for it, yes. But I think that was a big thing for me of like, okay, this may or may not go as I have planned in my head.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think, if I could tell, I mean, I've seen a lot of relationships that end over kids. Now, being a parent,
Mm.
what I want to tell people is, kids are not the end all. Kids are not an identity. And
Mm.
if you're, it's totally valid if you're breaking up with someone because they don't want kids for all of those sorts of reasons. But if you have this idea that kids will complete you,
Yeah.
that is not going to work. So we had this idea of wanting to have kids to help with the future generations, of making kind human beings who are self-aware of their important, who they are and their emotional intelligence. Like, we had an agenda of why we wanted to procreate. It was not just to make little Courtneys and little Jameses.
Mhm.
And it that is super important, because if your relationship is just about procreating, if that's it, you're going to put way too much pressure on those kids and way too much pressure on your marriage, and
Oh
everything
yeah.
will explode.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
for me, I would say, focus your relationship on you and what you can bring to the relationship, and then be with a person who is going to focus on themselves and what they can bring. And it's a beautiful circle. And if you want to throw kids in, cool, but do not define your future relationship just on kids. I will talk about that all day. I Our relationship in society with procreating is exceptionally dysfunctional.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of it actually. So if you could make, and this question goes to the both of you, if you could make a law for the world to follow, what would that law be?
Ooh. Well, that's a hard one.
I guess a question, I guess like a law for humanity. How about that?
Yeah. Hmm. I just like the kindness piece of all of it, like that everyone would have to be decent, just be, and kind, just be kind to everyone else,
Yeah,
like
just be, don't be a, yeah.
dick all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, like, not a word I'm supposed to use, but yeah,
Yeah.
like don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just be kind, I think,
Mine would be that
overall.
every single human person has to learn how to be self-compassionate.
Oh
Ooh, that's
yeah,
good.
Everybody has to learn self-compassion.
for
I think
sure.
that would solve so many things of projection and power-hungry people, if they could just heal what is inside them.
That's beautiful.
It'd
The
be
both
hard
of
to
you are a lovely couple.
DJ.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, James, tell me a little bit about your career, what you're doing right now with James, the transition coach. What's that all about?
Yeah, so basically 3.5 years ago, I crash and burned. It was the we had um, just had Addie, and my grandma died the same day Addie was born,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, it was
It's like
rough.
give one life, and then,
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
wow, that's really
And
powerful.
it was, and we knew it was coming. We actually named Addie after her middle name is after my grandma, and so she knew that. We knew she had cancer, and so she actually was staying so she could see a photo of Addie. Addie was born at 8 in the morning, and 8 p.m. that night, my grandma passed away. So she got to see a
What?
photo.
Yeah.
She got to see
Wow.
a photo of Addie on my dad's. My dad was there. He showed her a picture on his cell phone, um, and then she kind of just left. And then we sold our house, bought a new house. I left my old career to become a stay-at-home dad, and a lot of change, a lot of stuff, and I had zero coping skills. And so between the hormones, which, hormones with testosterone, that's a roller coaster in itself, and big life changes, and I had no coping skills. And so I spent the last 3 years like just diving deep into self-love, meditation, journaling, scheduling, cleaning, habits, anything and everything that could lead to a more fulfilled me, that could then lead to a more fulfilling husband and dad. And I realized, shit, these are really hard to find. Like, this is not easy. Like, yeah, I could spend 30 hours a week listening to all sorts of podcasts from this place and that place and here. And
Right.
but it is not that easy. And especially what I learned when I transitioned is there's no class on this. Like, yeah, sure, you go to therapy with hopefully a therapist who might know some stuff about trans stuff, but maybe not. And you might talk to a doctor who knows stuff, or maybe not. But there wasn't anyone that I could really find on Instagram that was diving deep into coping skills for trans guys and dealing with the real struggles we have in establishing our manhood, and how toxic masculinity seeps into that.
Oh yeah.
So I decided, you know what? I already had real estate established, and I love doing that. But really, what I want to do long term is give back to the specifically trans men.
Yeah, nothing feels better than giving back.
Yeah. So then I just became becoming a coach, so that I can help guys, big term on a bigger platform like Instagram or TikTok, and then more singular, like one-on-one coaching, which is mostly the goal is the one-on-one coaching, but podcast, blog, YouTube, all of that. I want to try to reach as many guys as possible and help them out.
Excellent. Thank you so much to the both of you from the bottom of my heart for being on my show. It really means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to everybody that's listening. I mean, I feel like pumped up right now. Both of you really pumped me up for some good stuff.
Thank you.
And I hope that we can touch base again in the near future, hopefully with some
Absolutely.
awesome topics coming up. I wish you both the best. Your beautiful daughter's the best, and a loving, happy, beautiful, flourishing relationship that the both of you have.
Thank you so much.
It was very nice meeting you.
Thank
you
you.
too. Thanks for having us.
You too.
Okay, bro. All right.